So hi everyone, it's Terri Pace. I am here today. We are going to talk a little bit about my favorite daily routines and some of the essential oils that I really cannot live without. But for people who are new to essential oils, I thought it'd be a really good idea to spend 5 minutes on what exactly is an essential oil and how do I use them? Like, what are the benefits? So an essential oil is a plant. It's been, distilled. It's part of the leaves, the bark, the flowers, the stems. The essential oils are part of the plant, right? It's actually a naturally occurring, volatile, aromatic compound. So basically, it's nature's chemistry, right? Essential oils are a message-carrying molecule, right? They have intelligent messages for our cells. The plant creates the essential oil and uses it for protection, for recovery from different, fungal attacks, and to communicate, right? It attracts pollinators and it repels pests. And so those are the three things that we would use them, right? It's going to help protect us from environmental threats. It's going to help us heal, and it's going to help intercellular communication, right? It's a messenger molecule, and that means that it helps our cells talk to each other, and then we get the job done better, right? So there's 3 easy ways that we use them, right? Aromatically, you just put them on your hand and breathe them in, right? Or you put them in a diffuser, right? Topically, we're going to apply them wherever, we have that area of concern. Sometimes we apply it on the back of the neck when we want an impact on our nervous system, sometimes on the bottom of our feet, where we want to have some of the benefits of reflexology. But, wherever you put them, however you breathe them in, it's going to get wherever it needs to go, right? doTERRA essential oils you can take internally, right? And so, I remind everybody, not all essential oils are created equally, right? And so look for the label, right? This is a supplement facts label that says it is rated for internal use. And one of the things that I love about this, the doTERRA essential oils is that it's not just allowed to take them internally, they're actually recommended for internal use, right? That we get like systemic benefits by putting them in our water or putting them in a veggie cap, or sometimes even I drop it right under my tongue. And so as we talk tonight, you're going to see that I use them in all 3 different ways. Sometimes I put it in a diffuser or just put it on my hands and breathe it in. Sometimes I'm applying it on my body. But whichever way you're doing it, if it's on you, it's in you, right? If you're breathing it in, it's actually going in. Right? And so no matter which way it is, it's really important for you to have the highest quality essential oil. Right? When we have a high quality essential oil, right, very quickly it interacts with our body. Here's an example, right? So this is a slide of blood, right? They took blood and like the cells are kind of clumped together and they're really like not moving around, right? This is a live blood sample. And so what they did was they applied an essential oil to the bottom of this person's foot, and 30 seconds later, they took another blood sample. And that's what it looked like. What a dramatic difference. And immediate, right? It was 30 seconds later. And so today, we're going to talk about how do I get those dramatic and immediate results for me? So I want to share my passion, my knowledge, like my personal experiences. This is a class about what do I do and why do I do it, right? I want to empower you to live and love a natural solutions lifestyle, right? So that you can become an essential oil expert and create the life that you want to live, right? And so we're gonna talk about 15 of my favorites. And I just want you to know how hard it was for me to pick my 15 favorites, because there's so many others that I use on a daily or weekly basis that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving all these other ones out. But I picked some of my top ones. And so my first one is using peppermint and wild orange, right? And so anyone love these 2 oils in combination, right? Peppermint's gonna open our airways and promote healthy respiratory function. You can use it to cool you off on a hot day. You can put it under your tongue to help like appetite suppressant, right? Freshen your breath. You can put it in a spray bottle and get rid of pests, right? You can, wild orange is great because wild orange is kind of like liquid sunshine. It's like happiness in a bottle. And I put it in my water every day. I put it in my diffuser with any other oil, like wild orange and anything else. Smells absolutely amazing, right? And so one of my favorite things to do is to put peppermint and wild orange on my hands or in the diffuser. And it, like, this is like, you know, my after lunch wake me up. This is my first thing in the morning, clear out the brain fog, right? And so I'm gonna invite you, if you have oils at your fingertips, I'm gonna invite you to put a little bit of wild orange and peppermint together. And just take that deep breath in. It just like clears out the cobwebs and helps me see through new eyes, right? I'd love to have that. Okay. So, you know, feel free to throw comments in the chat, or if you have a peppermint or wild orange story, you know, happy to hear it, right? But let's move on to number 2. So number 2 for me is frankincense. I put frankincense with wild orange on my forearms first thing in the morning, and I kind of move the oils through my forearms as my arms are above my heart, and I kind of just welcome the new day, right? It's like one of my favorite kind of habits. It's very oxygenating, right? All the essential oils help us open up and bring more oxygen into the cell, right? Because it's an antioxidant, right? And so it's going to help reduce free radical damage, which means we're going to reduce inflammation, right? And so like there isn't any other oil that's my favorite for reducing inflammation. And before bed, without fail, I put 2 drops under my tongue. So you might wonder why. So a lot of times when I'm climbing into bed, I've had a very long day. And if you're like me, right, my lack of falling asleep quickly isn't about that I'm not tired. It's that I have so much chatter going on in my brain, right, over and over and over again. And so frankincense helps me organize all that chatter. What's important, right? What do I have to really pay attention to and code for the next day? And what can I throw out, like today's news, right? Like today's over, throw the newspaper away, and we'll move on. My next favorite is the Aroma Touch technique. It is the combination of 8 essential oils that are applied to the spine in a very particular order to elicit a very particular response from your autonomic nervous system. The Aroma Touch technique was designed by Dr. Hill, and I'm an instructor. And so not only am I certified to give aroma touches to people, but I am an instructor and I certify others in this amazing technique. It helps reduce stress, which boosts our immune system. It helps kind of with that inflammatory response, right? And then it kind of returns us to homeostasis. And if you notice, peppermint and wild orange are in this amazing technique. So like there is a wonderful feeling that you get when you've received an aroma touch. And even when I give it, I feel almost as good as the person that's on the table receiving it. And so it's definitely in my top. So one of the other ones is just simply putting lemon in my diffuser or in my water every single day, all day long, right? It's a great toxic cleanser, both inside your body and in the air, right? So, I loved to cleanse the air just by putting a little lemon in my diffuser. I love putting it in my water and just, drinking it whenever I need to, right? I also love balance. Balance is a combination of wood and flower oils, right? Wood oils are grounding to the nervous system. Flower oils are calming and gentle on the emotions, right? And so a lot of times our stress is related to a thought that triggered some kind of emotion in us, whether we're happy or sad or, you know, fear, doubt, worry, all those things create some response in our body. So, excuse me, wait, what's going on? My clicker's going all over the place. So I do this every morning as I start my day, right? I do my frankincense, and then I do my balance, right? I put it on my big toe every single night, right? Right? The reflex point for the amygdala, which is kind of controlling that fight or flight response, right? Safe, not safe, safe, not safe. And so I want to quiet that down. So I put balance on my big toe. And there's a lot of other benefits from this, right? Because one of the ingredients is frankincense, right? And so it's also got blue chamomile and blue tansy. So it's going to be really good for the skin. So balance is something that I'll also put on, like if I have some kind of like skin irritation. I also love the smell of this, so I could put it on the bones behind my ears, and I wear it as a perfume. So like, I love balance. Anyone out there love balance? Like one of my favorites. It's actually, I think, one of the first couple ones. And it is another oil that's in the Aroma Touch technique. So here you have, you know, me using it individually outside of that technique. So another one, here's number 6 for me. You might think, wow, like basil is one of my favorite oils. So let me tell you why, right? Basil is a spice, right? And so it's something that, you know, you'll find sometimes, you know, with tomatoes and mozzarella, right? But I love basil because it helps support the adrenal system. It's also really good. It helps to enhance memory. And I got a lot of stuff going on. And so there's so many times when I'll be like, oh, don't forget to do that. And I'll be like, it'll go right out of my head. And then I'll be trying to think, okay, what was I just thinking about, right? So I love to support memory with basil, right? It's also really good for sore muscles and joints, right? Basil is one of the oils in the Aroma Touch blend, which is the namesake for the Aroma Touch technique. And it's really good for connective tissue, right? All the tendons and ligaments are well supported by the basil that's in that blend. And, you know, we also know that basil's very high in something called linalool, right? Linalool is something that helps us reduce cortisol, which is one of your stress hormones. And so I love using basil. It's so uplifting to me. Like even when I would smell the plant, I just love basil. And so I actually will make a salad dressing, right? They take olive oil and they put lemon, lime, and basil in the oil, and then I put a little salt and pepper and a couple other dried herbs, and just, you know, that's all I use. I don't use a vinegar-based salad dressing, right? We're turning really good raw vegetables into something not so good when we put that dressing on. So I really like to make my own, and this is a really great way to do it. Okay, next up is DDR prime, right? DDR prime is an amazing oil. DDR stands for damaged DNA repair. So it is a cellular complex, right? It helps us reduce oxidative stress on the cells, right? And it comes in either a soft gel or the oil. So you can pop a drop, right? Conveniently, taking it internally, or you can apply it on the bottom of your feet, right? And, you know, for me, I take 2 soft gels every single day at night, right? Because the repair process goes on while we're sleeping. So I want to load up my body with oils that are really good at the cellular renewal process that's going on while I'm sleeping. And so I'm helping the repair of damaged cells. I'm helping, you know, to identify cells that maybe need to be replaced, because at night, that's when we're doing that process. And so it's been amazing for me. Okay, next up, number 8 is Deep Blue. I love this collection, right? You have it as an oil, and that oil is put inside a cream. They call that Deep Blue Rub. And they've also made a complex, right? A polyphenol complex, right? Which is carotenoids. These are powerful antioxidants, powerful anti-inflammatory to help reduce and control inflammation in your body. And so, right, a lot of the oils that we've talked about so far are really good at the evil twins of aging, right? And so oxidative stress happens when we live and breathe, right? Just because the cell is exchanging oxygen, right? It has to have oxygen in order to live. And so there's an exhaust, and those exhausts, they're called free radicals. And that exhaust, it bangs around, right? It's a little wobbly because it has electrons. It doesn't have enough of them, right? So it's not balanced. And that kind of imbalanced motion creates stress on the cell, which creates the inflammation. And that creates aging. So if we could reduce that oxidative stress, right, by neutralizing the free radicals, then we are going to age slower. So anybody here want to age slower, right? So DDR prime is going to do this for us, and the deep blue is going to do this for us, particularly the deep blue polyphenol complex, right? So this is just an everyday oil for me, right? So enjoy that one. Okay. So what else? So well, I have to talk about lavender, right? Because lavender is just amazing. Right? I consider it the Swiss Army knife of oils, right? It has different chemical constituents, and it does a little bit of everything, right? So one of the main constituents is linalool, right? We talked about that. Basil is also high in linalool, and it's really good to help us reduce stress. So this is Dr. Hill, and he's standing here, and he's like, well, I like to use lavender to soothe skin irritations and to support healthy tissue recovery, right? It's great because it's mild and gentle, and it's good for the whole family. However, I assume most men are like me and may not completely appreciate the rich floral aroma while they can appreciate the benefits. And so, you know, one of the suggestions, right, you know, is to use petitgrain, right? Petitgrain is also high in linalool, also good for the skin, but it has a woodier aroma. So I call this the his and hers, right? So you can have lavender and petitgrain as alternate choices. Okay, what else? So number 10, this is crazy effective, right? You put oregano, lemon, peppermint, and melaleuca in either hot water or warm water, right? And then you just breathe it in, right? Dr. Dave Stoyer shared this with us, right? Like, so we have, you know, stuffiness or congestion going on upstairs, right? We breathe it in, and like one of the things that most people don't know, so okay, your respiratory tract has very little blood flow up here. And so the only way we can get to impact some of the cells that are inside the nasal cavity and that upper respiratory tract is to breathe it in. That's why sometimes they nebulize, you know, your breathing treatments because that's the only way they can really get it there. So this is really good to help get right into the area, right? Like we're kind of applying it topically, even though we're using it aromatically, and it's so effective, right? If you're congested, just breathe this in. You're gonna have stuff pouring out of you, and you're gonna be able to breathe again. So I love, love, love this little trick. Okay, next up is black pepper, right? So sometimes oregano in that little steaming cup trick can be a little bit harsh, and so I like to substitute black pepper into it. Right? Black pepper is really rich in antioxidants. It helps us ward off all those seasonal threats, but it promotes healthy circulation. And you can use this with the peppermint and the lemon instead of the oregano when you have, like, you know, congestion or a cough, right? I love black pepper, right? You know, it's nothing like the black pepper that you might, you know, grind on your food, right? The flavor and the aroma aren't like that at all. And so I really do love this oil. So one of the other favorites, we're getting deep into my favorites now, is sandalwood. So sandalwood is the oil of the divine, right? It helps to, listen to your heart. Too often, this up here, the brain and the chatter, is occupying most of our attention, but the truth lies in our heart. And so sometimes we have to kind of quiet the chatter up here and really listen to what's in our heart. What do we know to be true? And what is it I'm called to do in this moment, right? And so I love to combine sandalwood with a drop of bergamot and a drop of lime, right? I call it the I Am blend. I got this from Becky Hinsey years and years ago, and it's probably one of my favorite things to do when I'm like kind of struggling with purpose. Like, so many times my whole day is occupied by just, answering or responding to the requests of other people for my time, rather than an intentional purpose of what leads me through my day, right? And so the truth is, we choose what's in our day. Yes, sometimes we have to go to work because we need the paycheck, but we're choosing to do that. I'm not a victim in that. I've chosen that the paycheck at the end of the week is important enough for me to give up what else I wanted to do that day, right? So we're not victims here. We are choosing in. And so, I put this on to help me realize that I am a child of God. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored, right? That I add value to everything I touch. And I'm choosing to touch this particular task or relationship today, right? And so I invite you to try this one. You are going to love this, right? And as an aside, sandalwood, there's a lot of science that says that it supports healthy cell renewal, right? And so that's one of the reasons why they put it in Immortelle, right? So Immortelle, it's kind of like an anti-aging blend. I use it frequently, right? I take it and I draw a smile from ear to ear, right? And then I roll it up my throat, right? So what I'm doing is I'm kind of promoting healthy circulation and healthy thyroid, right? And so then I'll put a little bit on my fingertips and I'll kind of drive it. There's the bone of your chin and the bone of your ear kind of meet right in this little spot, right? And so if you take the oil and kind of just drive that in, it's kind of driving it deep into the circulatory system of the brain, and it can help you not have circulatory issues in the brain. How cool is that, right? The other thing I do is I take it and I move it around my eyes, right? Because it's an anti-aging blend. And, around our eyes, we tend to show a lot of age, right? The wrinkle lines around our mouth and our eyes give us away sometimes. So I put it around there, right? And it also is kind of stimulating circulation to my eyes, right? Because over our age, right, we start to have issues with sight, and so I'm trying to promote eye health at the same time. This is also an oil that I've been using for the last 2 years. I had 2 abdominal surgeries, and so I've been putting it on the scar tissue to promote healthy cell renewal, right? It's an anti-aging blend, but it's also promoting health of the skin. And like the scar tissue is like almost, like my second surgery was only a year ago, and it's just completely white. Like you can't really even see the scar. There's no raised area. You know how sometimes with a scar, it'll be raised and bumpy. It's all flat and even. And, the different doctors and therapists that are, working on helping me recover are amazed. I actually had the surgeon ask if he could take a picture of my scar so that they could put it up on their picture book to show future people who might have to go through that type of surgery. So I know it's working and amazing other people, so a lot of good things with Immortelle. Okay, so next up has to be copaiba. Copaiba is a cannabinoid, but it's a cannabinoid that doesn't interact at all with the central nervous system, which, when you're dealing with CBD and THC, there is a lot of, issues with that. I could do another class, a whole hour on just, what's the difference. But any plant that interacts with your endocannabinoid system is considered a cannabinoid. But there are lots of cannabinoids in essential oils that don't interact and have any kind of psychotropic effect on the brain. And so we are working in the peripheral nervous system, which is your experience of every sensation, right? And so this is going to help liver, cardiovascular, immune, digestive, neurological, respiratory, like you name it, it's going to positively affect it because it's helping all the little nerve endings everywhere, right? And so combine this with the turmeric, right? Whether the oil or the dual chamber capsules, this is like a win-win. Like I love taking copaiba and turmeric together, 2 in the morning, 2 at night. Right? I did not use any narcotics in my recovery from my surgeries. So, I know this was really helpful, with the deep blue, right? One of my other favorites that we talked about already. That was like my protocol. And so I love, love, love having these oils in my home at my fingertips. Okay, and finally, like it was my goal to stop at 15, but I was like, I can't stop. I have to do one more. And so adaptive is a whole system. And so it's a really unique formulation that's never been done before. It combines neurotransmitters with alkaloids and fatty acids, right, that help us sustain serotonin levels and modulate GABA, right? And so by upregulating and downregulating the chemistries in your brain, we're going to have an amazing disposition, right? Our mood for the day, our perspective on life is going to be well supported by healthy brain chemistry rather than stressed out, crazy emotional chemistry, right? So, we have lots and lots of great testimonials already by, using it consistently and maximizing our benefits. Now, we have the capsule, which is a systemic pathway to helping us adapt to our environment in a calm way. Or you have the oils, which are addressing your limbic system, right? The place where like we first respond, right? Our emotional quotient, if you'd like, right? Behavior, thought, and emotion is controlled by the limbic system. And so by controlling both the systemic pathway of our stress response with the emotional pathway, you have a win-win here. And so this is like my new favorite. Right, I had to add it on, and it's definitely a daily system that I use. Okay, so those are my favorites, right? If you do not yet have oils at your fingertips, you just fill out this little form, tell me how I can contact you, and I will send you some really good stuff, and you could try it out yourself, right? You can just text me or email me. You can connect with me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I have a Vimeo channel where, you may even be listening to this recording someday in the future on this channel. So coming up this week, tomorrow, we're doing Breathing Easy with essential oils. Next Monday and Tuesday, right, we're doing every Monday at 6 and every Tuesday at 2. And so next Monday, we're doing men's health, and next Tuesday, we're doing women's health and hormones, right? And then Thursday evening, we're going to do a little bit on immune support. I think it's really important that we continue to boost the function of our immune system so that we will be calm in any storm. And so I thank you for joining me, and I would love to, answer questions or, hear what are your daily favorites.